What's up, guys? I'm going to give you every single piece of information that you need to basically, skyrocket the hit rates and the volume and the efficiency of your team when it comes to your static ads, your image ads, however you want to call it, okay? So I'm not here to waste your time. Let's get right into it. It's going to be 4 things that we implement in-house, that we teach all the creative strategists that we work with, and so on, okay? Very first thing, very simple. If you've been around on this channel, you already know this. You've already heard of this 1,000 times. It's the hook test, okay? So what this is you essentially go ahead and put your hooks that you basically either AI generate or write yourself into blank image ads that look like this. So it's 1x1 image ads with a white background with just text on it, and you make like 30, 40 different, 100 of these. You test them all, you spend like $2 each, and then you just turn them off. And you take the best ones. A couple KPIs are, like 7% click-through rates and not higher than $70 CPM. And then you just take the best of the best ones and put them on the actual creatives. Okay, so what you're gonna then do is, like, when you have your ads, obviously when the content hooks, the headline in this case of the actual statics is already pre-validated and the actual creative fails, you know exactly that it wasn't the hook itself, but it had to be something else. It had to be the visual, the disqualifiers, and so on, all the other things that could go wrong potentially in an actual creative. And this is why it is so important and so unbelievably powerful to isolate your metrics here, because at some point, the more stuff you have isolated, the more stuff you know works without anything combined, the more you can just, like, at some point just throw together variables and just print new winning ads every single time. Why? Because you've tested in the past. Now, when you have a winning ad, which is maybe even ripped, the reason why you can't do it again is because you don't know why it worked in the first place. Now, the only way to figure out why it worked in the first place is to test every single piece, like little piece and bit of that ad isolated against each other. And then when you actually realize what worked about it and what didn't, you're going to basically have a better understanding in not only your customers, your niche, your audience, your avatar, and make a better product, but essentially increase your hit rates and skyrocket essentially every single ad that basically gets into the ad account. And so the second thing, which this leads me to, is the format isolation. Okay, so there's 2 separate things that we actually test against each other. This is when we then, obviously after the hook test, transition the ads into actual creatives. So static versus motion, pretty simple example. Let me show you guys here on this ad. So we either have like a normal ad that looks like this, right? It's a super normal image ad, or we actually have like animations, right? So obviously could make this a lot smaller for all the stuff here. And so what this would look like is this would basically just be essentially a super animation, maybe the probably twisting around or something. If you really want to take this to the maximum level, you'd make it super small. You'd make it, kind of blur in, blur out, whatever. And so what this helps with, obviously, is sometimes this works significantly better, especially when you have like a super product focused visual, right? So when it's supposed to be a super professional shot, it just boosts the metrics and gets the CPMs down because it, farms more engagement. Okay. And a second thing, which actually no one really does, but I think is a super important thing to play around with, is the format. Okay. So once you have your actual creatives, let's say you have a couple ones which even are working really well, you're going to want to test the same thing in a 1x1, which it probably already is, and then a 9x16 version for stories. Maybe you make like a specific story call to action on it that actually looks like a story with that little, like, the link story thing, and then the 16x9. So anything, right? Anything that you can imagine, all those that you usually tend to skip on the ad account. This is something which we like to do too, just because recently it has been having a lot, like very, very different results from each other. Okay. So go ahead and implement this right away, right? Number 3 is called contextual masking. And so what this is essentially, it really tells us or shows us how much information we give away and when we do give that away, basically. So it's like, as you can see here, the difference between first and the second ad here, both of them have a price disqualifier. Both of them don't have any features and benefits. It's the same visual, but both of these image ads have pretty much, like, you could argue that they're the same conversion. However, this one will significantly convert better because the hook is earlier on. It's in the headline itself. Whereas here, you can see it's only on the bottom right corner. Okay, so what this does is essentially, obviously you've got to imagine people scan through images in form of a Z, right? So top left, right, then top right, then bottom left, bottom right. And so what that happens here is, okay, they read through the hook here, and the hook has the price immediately in it, and then they see the hand and they see nothing. Okay, so this is why they see everything before, right, seeing the hand, before seeing what this really does, before seeing the visual. Therefore, this one will have a lower click-through rate because there's So always when you drop the price, people that will just drop off because they don't resonate with it. Now the other thing is obviously this here will have like create the curiosity and everything more first and then lead them to the price. Okay, so this is what contextual masking is essentially giving out the same level of disqualifiers, but it does really make a huge difference when and where you give them away inside of an image ad. And this is something which you have to play around with. And now another example is like, for example, this like super mysterious curiosity creating type of concept where basically it's the same exact image ad, but just the question mark is a little bit blurred. Obviously, you can once again play around with this a lot. Make sure to not get your ad account banned. Just like for example with before and after concepts. If you have an aged older ad account, then you're going to be fine with this. If not, then you should be a little bit more careful. And the last thing I actually want to talk about here is the micro segmentation. So when you have all these things done and you have a couple really good image ads that are scaling, that are doing really well, a couple iterations already that are constantly, consistently going into the ad account, hit rate reports that are looking very healthy and good, you're going to apply something and implement something that is called micro segmentation, which is essentially actually adding very specific call outs, right, into the beginning of your ad. And all this is going to do, once again, it's just going to be a disqualifier in terms of making the conversion rate better. Now, if you nail the micro segment that you actually pick, this is why we want to test a lot of them with the same hook and same visual each. If you nail it, then it's going to maintain the CTR, potentially even make the CTR and the conversion rate better. So this is a lever that you can pull, which is unbelievably powerful, because usually in the iteration process, you have to pick between, okay, do I give up a little bit of the conversion rate for better CTRs, or do I give up a little bit of the CTR for better conversion rates? But this is something that's going to pull both of those levers, okay? So basically, if you nail this, think about it. Let's say busy moms, busy dads, busy students. So it's like some adjective and then basically the avatar, right? Or, you know, something about the avatar, and then same hook, same visual, everything, okay? So what happens if you nail this, if you really, like, people start to resonate with this, obviously they're going to click more because they feel more called out and they're going to buy more, okay? This is super important, super powerful to understand. Now you can do this with, for example, Americans, you can do this with age groups, you can do this with jobs. So there's a lot of different ways to niche down. These are things that you usually don't do when you're not at a high scale yet, because then it tends to go wrong. And this can significantly go wrong. So make sure before you get into this, the ad that you're doing this with already is scaling and you know which exact variables about it work, so you don't mess up the traffic. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. This was pretty much it. Super short video, but I hope you could learn a thing or two. Thank you so much again for giving me your most important asset, which is your attention. Thanks for watching. I wish you a beautiful day.